Razaban from FightHype.com with me. I've got trainer of the IBF welterweight champion of the world, Kell Brook, Dominic Ingle.
How you doing?
Dominic, good to see you after a while.
Good.
I was actually at the initial press conference, but I had my eyes on you and then you just
disappeared. Did one.
I think you did one before Kell did one.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, probably. I think you know, I got out of there quick before Spencer's trainer started putting it on me. I mean, I can't fight, but I can talk. So I talk a good fight.
You did well. You did well, I have to say. Firstly, obviously, you moved camp to Fuerteventura as you do. How have things been over there? I know you had quite a few of the local lads out there.
Yeah, no, we've had some decent sparring partners. Like Jamie Cox, John Ryder, Craig Cunningham. You know, we've had a lot of awkward southpaws, different types, tall, small, boxers, punchers, everything. You know, Kell's had a good variation. And when you go out to Fuerteventura, we went out there for the last 3 weeks, well, the last 2 weeks of the camp. It's just nice and relaxed. You do your training. There's nothing else to do. You go home. There's no kids running around your feet. There's nothing to focus on. Only your game and resting. And you could just see, you know, Kell's mood and confidence lift in the sun. You know, his sparring came together. He enjoyed what he was doing. He put his shots together well in sparring. And you know, none of those guys could stay in there for longer than a round at a time, and that's good. You know, Kell was doing a round with each one, in and out, and you know, it kept him nice and sharp, so he's confident.
Dominic, you know Kell better than most people, and I spoke to most of the pundits that we have here today, and the discussion was about the weight and how at 160 he looked like a machine, and quite a few people believe that 147 is not suited for him. Some say, and well, you can refer to the interviews later, but some said that in the past he's looked very weak at 147. Now I know a month ago when you did the IBF check weight, he was about 154-ish.
Yeah, I mean, I don't read too much into weights and check weights. It's, you know, we've got a process where Kell Brook makes the weight over a period of weeks, and it's a gradual process. And you know, cast your mind back to an interview that Sean Porter did after the fight, and he said, I couldn't believe how strong Kell Brook was. You know, they probably looked at the Carson Jones fight and thought, all we've got to do is jump on him. And this is the thing people don't realise. I don't know why people think he looks weak at the weight. It's difficult to get to the weight, but when he gets into the ring, he's strong. And I think, you know, Sean Porter was a strong fighter, built like a tank. They were calling him the mini Mike Tyson, but he wasn't as strong as Kell Brook. So, you know, people can talk and they can speculate, but you know, you got to think back to 2 years back, and nothing changes. Yeah, he's a little bit older, but he's a little bit wiser, a bit more experience. He's had a couple of world title defences. He's been in with the machine and the beast that is Triple G. And you're looking at Errol Spence there on the pads, doing the pads. I can remember being at Covent Garden listening to Golovkin's shots hitting the pads. It was like a baseball bat hitting a coconut. And you know, he hasn't got the punch power. You know, people think that Kell's going to be weak at the weight or less punch resistance, but that's not true. He will probably still get in the ring at the same weight he got in the ring as with Golovkin. So, you know, he's going to be up there above middleweight.
Well, obviously Errol Spence is regarded as the next big thing in boxing. Floyd Mayweather praises him very highly. Floyd was here last week and I asked him on his opinion on that fight, and he said Errol a late stoppage. What have you seen of Errol that can potentially cause threat to Kell?
Look, he's young, he's game, he can punch, he's confident, he's coming off, you know, an unbeaten record. But, you know, think back to 2012. Look at the guys who came from England, Anthony Joshua, all the guys, the Olympians who've made it under Eddie Hearn since then. And in 2012, I'd never even heard of Errol Spence Jr. So in 2012, Kell was boxing the likes of Saldivia, coming through, getting himself into world title position. So I'd be more concerned if Errol Spence had come away with the gold and people were raving about him, but he didn't come away with the gold, he didn't even place as a medal. So, you know, yeah, he's the next big thing by his own admission. You know, and people can say what they want, and people can look and think, oh yeah, it's great when you're knocking people out and nobody can stand up to you, but he's not quite met anybody at the level of Kell Brook.
Obviously Errol Spence, I looked at the odds today, it looks like Kell Brook's the underdog going into this fight. Not surprised by that?
Well, I'm not allowed to place bets because, you know, we're not allowed to do that in sport, but I'll get somebody to put a bet on for me, you know, and I'll bet that Kell Brook wins it. It's great while the odds are against us, you know, we're going to get more of a payout, aren't we? So I've never been concerned with odds or underdogs or whatever, you know. The day the bookies get it 100% right, you know, that'll be the end of betting, won't it? But they never do. So, you know, I don't concern myself. I'm not really a betting person. Maybe when the weigh-in comes around on Friday and they see Kell Brook on the scales and they see Errol Spence on the scales, expect another shift in opinion. You know what I mean? They're still banging on about Kell being weak at the weight. Look, you've got 24 to 36 hours to rehydrate after a weigh-in before the fight. You've got to do a check weight the next day. You know, Kell Brook's been here before, done it. You know, he's a veteran of 30, 36, 37 fights. And the way he's applied himself in this camp, I've seen no signs whatsoever that he's not up for this job, that he can't go through. The training he has to do is grueling. And he's pushed himself through some tough times. So, you know, if I saw any chinks in his armour, I'd be concerned, but I haven't seen any chinks in his armour. You know, the fighter that Errol Spence is going to face on Saturday is going to be the 400% Kell Brook.
Dom, I know you when I spoke to you a little while back in London, we spoke about the weight, whether Kell was going to stay at 154, well, move to 154 or go back to 147, and obviously Kell decided that he's not going to run away from his mandatory. He wanted to fight Errol Spence. Moving forward, and I'm sure you looked at the future. Is he gonna stay at the 147 weight, or after this fight, or is he gonna?
It's difficult. It's difficult. It's just, you know, like I've always said, unless you put yourself in that position, whenever you're trying to change anything in your life as a normal person, it's difficult. Whether you want to pack up smoking, drinking, gambling, you know, a lifestyle change or shift takes a lot of dedication, just even for the normal person. Now, people say, well, yeah, he's an athlete, he gets paid for doing that. Yeah, he does, but it's still difficult. It's still human at the end of the day. He's still got a family, still in an environment where there's nice food around him. He's earning plenty of money, he's living in a big house, he's got all the luxuries of life. That makes it even more difficult. But if you've got all that, and you can take yourself away, you know, to a little island in the Atlantic called Fuerteventura, away from all your family, your kids, and live in a villa with 4 or 5 other guys, you know, day in, day out, taking yourself away from that luxury, it says something about you as a person. I remember when, you know, Cole Froch boxed Groves the first time, and he said, you know, I didn't train as hard as I should have done, I thought I'd beat him easy enough. And the second time he went to his camp, he came back to Sheffield, lived in a little, you know, little house, you know, scruffy little house somewhere, and just focus on the training. That's what you've got to do. And Kell Brook can do that. The day he stops doing that, the day he stops wanting to do that, the day he can't do that, it's going to be a problem in fighting at 147. Then he might move up. But whatever he can force himself through the training, and you know, don't get me wrong here, the training is harder than the fighting. You know, the fight lasts 36 minutes in total, you know, in total rounds of fighting. You know, the training, 2-3 hours a day, the dieting every day, you wake up, the first thing you think about is food. And to be able to push yourself through that for 16 weeks is difficult, because not many people can. And you look at the shape he's in, you know, when you see him at the weigh-in on Friday, if he hasn't made the weight right, the condition on his body will be wrong. But we're not going to get it wrong. We didn't get it wrong for Golovkin. You know, the nutritionist Greg Marriott never gets it wrong. He looks in great shape. He's looked in great shape for all his fights. You know, I can't remember the last time he didn't look in great shape. Probably the fight before he beat Sean Porter. I think he boxed at Liverpool against some Mexican guy, and he came in, you know, he came in a little bit heavy. Kelly looked in fantastic shape. He was fit, but there was no need for him to get into fantastic shape. But for the Porter camp, you know, looking at that fight in March he had before the fight against Porter, he got about 16, 17 weeks. He transformed himself, and he looked in fantastic shape. And that's what he can do. He's got the ability to do it. And once he no longer has the motivation to do that, that's when he's not going to fight at 147.